Move closer.
In person, online, mask in class, computers in the kitchen. Back to school is different this year. As part of our ongoing series, Rebound and Recovery, tonight we focus on back to school. Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Martin, and come Tuesday, hundreds of thousands of students here in the Houston area will be starting a new school year. We already know that a lot of school districts, or at least some of them in our area, have already returned to the classroom. But the region's largest, in fact the state's largest, the Houston Independent School District, begins Tuesday after Labor Day. It will be entirely online to start, with in-person learning set to start on October 19th if parents choose that. Now, the school district has spent the past several weeks working to get families the much needed technology. It's also making sure students aren't missing meals, continuing curbside pickup for those who opt for virtual learning. And how kids get to school in the region has also changed very much as well. Bus services have enhanced cleaning and are maintaining distance. For HISD, because distancing reduces bus capacity, only special education, homeless, and eligible elementary students will be transported when in-person classroom instruction does resume. Well, some districts like Conroe ISD are providing bus service, but are also encouraging parents to drive their children. And they say campuses are working to maximize the flow of car lines, while at the same time ensuring safety as well. Well, for those schools and those school districts that have already gone back in person, cleaning and sanitizing, no doubt, is a big priority and a big concern. And tonight, Fox 26's Chelsea Edwards takes us to the city's north side to see how that process is going.
Although going back to class has been on hold, staff at St. Pius X High School say they've been working out the details for in-person instruction, now set to start September 14th.
We've had the occasional influenza season, but this is just another level.
The new system starts at the doors, where face masks are required for everyone, with social distancing and navigation signs to prevent crowding.
Move closer.
Students and staff will get their first pass or fail at the temperature scanning kiosks, complete with health checks.
We are looking at other aspects. We're going to get students here safely. We're equipping our education frontline workers with the PPE that they need.
A lot of plans, a lot of questions still up in the air. What might that look like for the school day?
Students will be on a block schedule. So when we return, there's 50% of our students who will be in school while their classmates are at home, but tuned in via technology.
For this private Catholic school, cleanliness is next to godliness, using fog machines to get to hard-to-reach areas, along with a focus on sanitizing high touch points throughout the day.
We need to disinfect in a daily basis. We need to be more focused on details, so we take more time to clean the facility.
Stratus Building Solutions has worked with the campus for years, now adding their Project Protection, which includes color-coded cleaning cloths for specific areas and spray coatings that fight germs and viruses.
You know, we can do everything we can here on the campus to keep them safe, and then when they leave here, we're hoping that they, take those practices with them.
Preventing the spread of COVID-19 may also require teachers to get more hands-on in keeping surfaces clean, and for students, fighting the urge to be more social so the doors can stay open. In North Houston, Chelsea Edwards, Fox 26 News.
All right. Well, we know that online teaching is certainly a lot different for teachers. Different because they're not having to actually be in a classroom. They're not getting to command the kids' attention. So online learning certainly a different challenge. But as Fox 26's Dominic Keith shows us, a lot of teachers are adapting and meeting the demand.
I do different games, online games that students can play.
For Conroe ISD history teacher Chase Coulter, teaching the way he used to is a thing of the past for now, while the only face-to-face with his students is more like eyes to screen.
Good, First Amendment. And every 2 or 3 slides, they'll have to answer a question or they'll have to drag an icon, and so it can still make sure they're engaged.
Coulter has a few tricks up his sleeve to reach his kids even from an empty classroom.
I can have all the kids who are in my Zoom meeting enter this code right here, and I can watch them play as a group, and it's a competition to see who can get the most answers correct.
Coulter was actually taught these techniques in a Harris County Department of Education course that trains teachers to be effective online instructors by doing things such as
making sure that you're breaking things up into small bits so that students are able to digest what you're trying to teach them. Make sure that we're setting norms.
Dr. Kalina Poulard teaches the 6-week course, which includes the importance of establishing expectations with students while online schooling replaces the real deal.
Set those norms and structures. And that can be anything from making sure that you are logged in at a certain time, that all of your supplies are near you.
Dr. Poulard says students also need to know, even online, it's still school.
With my 2 sons, they were like, wait a minute, we don't have to go to school? They thought it was, happy free time.
Parents, Dr. Poulard says sticking to a schedule, writing it down, and hanging it up will help tremendously.
So that they know that this is when I can take a break. This is when I can listen to music. This is when I'm going to have a snack.
Also, Mom and Dad, how do I say this nicely? She says, don't hover.
Because you've all been in the house, everybody's been together, huddled up. Give them that time and that school time to be with their friends and to be with their teacher.
All right, well, sports also going to look a lot different this year for most school districts. The UIL sports and academic calendar is quite different based on activity and conference. These adjustments reflect the public health situation across different geographic areas of the state of Texas. So the plan delays activities for schools in highly populated areas given the challenges of COVID-19. Sporting events in schools 1A to 4A are already underway, and 5A to 6A, they will get underway on Monday or after the holiday. For a link to the UIL schedule, we have it for you up right now on fox26houston.com. Well, families of kids with special needs are facing some different challenges, a lot different than of other students do. In some cases, schools are ready to step up to the plate. In others, it's really up to parents to do even more. We'll have a look at that impact coming up tonight. Also, experts and parents weighing in on the back-to-school challenges and how you can navigate them when our Rebound and Recovery Back to School special continues. Well, as so many get ready to head back to school in the middle of a pandemic, certain families are facing an extra layer of difficulty in finding a new normal. And tonight, my co-anchor, Fox 26 anchor Caitlin Monty, is looking at how the COVID-19 restrictions are having an impact on special education.
We kind of stalled. And it's hard as a parent when you're sitting there watching your child struggle. It's a struggle for both of us. And you at times as a parent, you get to a point and you're just like, it's not worth the struggle.
Brandy Luther's son is in the 6th grade in Conroe ISD. He lives with dyslexia, which impacts his ability to process symbols like letters and numbers. Last year, Brandy says an exceptional special education teacher helped him make major strides in his reading ability, and then the pandemic hit.
All the progress that we had made last school year, it seems like it's just kind of lost.
The National Center for Education Statistics estimates 7 in every 50 public school students receives special education for a learning difference or disability. Dr. Kimberly Harrison is a private therapist who works with many such students whose disabilities create debilitating social anxiety.
With the pandemic, they hear these messages all day long. Don't go out. Be afraid of going out. Don't touch other people. That really exacerbates their internal wiring, which says, be afraid.
Dr. Harrison says the stress and lack of engagement with other people during the pandemic is causing many of her younger clients to regress in ways that she worries could delay their development into successful adulthood.
Well, in this short time frame since March, I've seen regression back to baseline.
Private therapists often work in tandem with the students' educators for years to develop techniques and routines that help them learn.
There are very limited things you can do in a virtual world for people who have real world issues that require being with other people. That said, oh my goodness, there have been some creative solutions.
But in many of these solutions, parents are now key players, like Brandy, who has to read aloud the material presented in her son's virtual lessons.
It is taking away from my work, my normal job, but it's a sacrifice that we have to make as a parent, because most kids, his age, they can log on and they can read it and they can follow the directions and move on. But because of his dyslexia, he can't sit there and read it.
By federal law, schools are legally obligated to provide the accommodations and services for which a student is deemed eligible.
Some people think, well, that's an unfair advantage, but that's not true. If a student meets eligibility, they've gone through rigorous testing. The accommodation levels the playing field. If we don't have that in place, virtual classroom or not, then the student with the disability is always at a disadvantage.
Nobody expected this to last as long as it has. But just with all of the struggles, we all just have to learn what patience is.
Yeah, some important information there. And if you feel that your child is being denied a service or not being reasonably accommodated, Dr. Harrison also told Caitlin that parents should not hesitate at all to contact the school principal or even the district superintendent if needed. Well, coming up next in our Fox 26 special tonight, by now most college kids have been dropped off and classes are underway. But what if coronavirus sends them home again? We'll take a look at protecting your investment. Well, several colleges and universities across the country have already told students to just go back home and learn after an outbreak of COVID-19 cases on the various campuses. So if that happens, what does that mean for you? Do you get any type of refund? Fox 26's consumer reporter Heather Sullivan got some answers.
Some families are dealing with this issue already before classes even begin. That's because months ago, they may have signed leases for campus apartments or signed up for meal plans, but now their student is going to take classes online instead, and they're stuck with the bill.
It's just going to really set us back thousands of dollars. It just seems like the university should have some type of parameters, understanding that this is a pandemic.
They want to stay anonymous. But the mom of a Prairie View A&M student signed a lease months ago for an on-campus apartment and a meal plan. That will now go unused as the student opts to take classes online.
I'm not willing to have to pay, $4,000 to just wait. This is a pandemic. We have a large family. We can't just let that money go.
Apartment Management American Campus Communities sent us a statement saying they have to cover the cost of running the apartments, but residents also have the option to sublet their apartment. And the Prairie View A&M website says a student can only cancel a lease if they withdraw from the school. The school will shift all classes online after Thanksgiving. The website says apartment leases will stand, but they may consider prorated refunds on meal plans. Rice University says they don't have a policy yet if they have to move in-person classes online, but point out they gave room and board refunds last spring. And Texas Southern University's website says all fall classes will be online through September 14th and will update the plan later. But this Prairie View family says they feel abandoned.
It's just a terrible situation. Like, we're willing to work with them, but it's like they don't want to work with us.
The University of Houston is offering classes both online and in person this fall, and then they will go all virtual after Thanksgiving. I asked them what happens if there is a COVID-19 outbreak on campus and they have to cancel their in-person classes. They say that housing will remain open for students and that a student who cancels their enrollment would then only be charged a daily rate for housing and meals from August 17th up until the date of cancellation, plus a $750 fee. With Sullivan Smart Sense, I'm Heather Sullivan, Fox 26 News.
Wearing a mask is pretty much a fact of life right now, but trying to get some school kids to buy in when they're in front of their kids, or their friends rather, that might be a different story. We'll tell you what you can do about it when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Well, wearing a mask is a part of the reopening plan, at least for some school districts in our area. And kids must learn to move about their day with their faces covered, a precaution necessary to keep COVID-19 out of schools and out of each of our homes. Dr. Diane Hess is the owner of Gramercy Pediatrics, and the key, she says, is to ease into the practice by starting right now.
If you wait to teach your child how to use a mask 3 days before school starts, it's never going to happen. You have to start easing them into it while they're watching TV at home. Yes, they might not need to wear a mask because they're not with any strangers or outsiders. But let's say, okay, we're going to watch Paw Patrol now, or we're going to read a book. Let's put our mask on and see how long we can keep it on for.
Well, doctors recommend face shields for students with special needs. They also say it's a good idea for parents to model the behavior that she was just talking about and talk to kids about why it's important to wear a mask. Well, we thank you so much for joining us for our Rebound and Recovery special focused on back to school. Of course, we have a lot of resources for you up right now on our website, fox26houston.com. We're wishing every one of you a safe and successful school year, and I'll see you back here for the news at 9.